two important linguistic concepts to understand, the speech styles as well as the speech level. They are two distinct linguistic aspects in the Korean language. To explain, I'll discuss a few terms. Please do not take the terms too literally though. Rather, consider them labels that represent the different forms for which we learn conjugation rules. Most importantly, we then learn the usage of those forms to use and adopt appropriately in communication. Under that premise, let's move on. First, let's use an analogy I made for students to better grasp the concept of speech levels and styles. Imagine two axes, one horizontal and the other vertical. Yes, you can imagine the x and y axis you've dealt with in your math class. Place two dots on the horizontal axis to represent the speaker and the hearer, and the distance between them is the proximity that the speaker places with the hearer. A certain degree of space represents courtesy as well as the level of intimacy, depending on the situation. On the other hand, the vertical axis represents the hierarchy between the speaker, the hearer, and whomever the speaker is referring to. If the agent or the actor linked with the verb is quote-unquote higher, the speaker will use what I refer to as honorific. If there is no particular reason to elevate the agent or actor, then the speaker will use the neutral form. Thus, the speaker's choice of speech style and speech level reveals their understanding of the relationships among the speaker, the hearer, and if applicable, the referent whose actions are described by the speaker. The difference between 사랑해줘 and 사랑해주세요 lies in both the speech style and speech level. 줘 is 반말, which in our Essential Korean curriculum is referred to as casual speech style or the intimate speech style. The casual speech style is compared with 존댓말, which again in our Essential Korean curriculum is referred to as polite speech style. Now, if we were to only change the casual speech style of 사랑해줘 to polite speech style while maintaining the speech level, we would go from 사랑해줘 to 사랑해줘요. In our previous analogy, this would be a horizontal movement along our x-axis. I'll repeat that one more time. 사랑해줘 to 사랑해줘요 is the change of the speech style, which we would visualize as a horizontal movement. Now, how would we get to 사랑해주세요 from 사랑해줘요? Well, we can first notice that both forms end in 요, which marks the polite speech style. That means their horizontal position is the same. The speech level, however, is different because 주세요 contains 세, which marks the honorific, an elevation of speech level. Thus, we can visualize 사랑해줘요 to 사랑해주세요 as a vertical movement up our y-axis. To recap, 사랑해줘 to 사랑해줘요 is a change of speech style, while 사랑해줘요 to 사랑해주세요 is a change of speech level. What if we were comparing 사랑해줘 to 사랑해주세요? Well, it would be a diagonal movement both vertically and horizontally, since speech style and speech level become polite from casual and honorific respectively. Are you with me? Very good. Now let's see this with 3 other verbs to reinforce this concept. I'll use the verbs 읽다 to read, 오다 to come, and 쓰다 to write. Here comes the phrases with the first verb 읽다 to read. 읽어, read in 반말. 읽어줘, read for me. 읽어줘요, read for me in polite style. 읽어주세요, read for me. in honorific level, polite style. Here are the phrases with the second verb, 오다, to come. 와, come, in 반말. 와줘, come for me. 와줘요, come for me, in polite style. 와주세요, come for me, in honorific level, polite style. And here are the phrases with the third verb, 쓰다, to write. 써, write, in 반말. 써줘, write for me. 써줘요, write for me, in polite style. 써주세요, write for me, in honorific level, polite style. Having yo and not having yo at the end of the verb is the distance between the casual speech style and the polite style, which concerns the speaker and the hearer. I mean that if the speaker uses yo, which marks the polite style, they're being courteous to the hearer. If the speaker uses 반말, the casual/intimate speech style, it reveals that either they're in a close relationship or the speaker perceives their position to be higher than the hearer. If their relationship called for the polite style, the speaker would have said 사랑해줘요 in place of 사랑해줘. Although they're different in speech style, both 줘 and 줘요, which carries the meaning of give, are not different in hierarchy, which would be represented by the y-axis discussed earlier. On the other hand, 사랑해주세요 reveals that the speaker has placed the giver of love in a higher position than the receiver, in this case, the speaker. How? By using the honorific form of 주다, to give, from which 줘, 줘요, and 주세요 are conjugated. While the verb ending 요 signifies polite speech style, the 세 in 주세요 signifies the honorific level used to elevate the agent or the subject of the verb 주세요. Let me shed some more light on those two notions with one more example. If I am talking with my best friend, I will be using 반말, which reveals we are close. And when I'm talking with a friend about my grandparents, it will be appropriate for me to use honorific verbs to describe my grandparents' action. Thus, the distance between my friend and me on the horizontal axis is close, but on the vertical axis, my grandparents' actions have been placed higher than mine. On the other hand, if I'm talking with my teacher, I'll be using 존댓말, which reveals the respect I pay to my teacher. And when I'm talking about my grandparents' actions with the teacher, it will be appropriate for me to use honorific verbs to describe their actions. It is irrelevant to my relationship with the hearer. Thus, the distance between my teacher and me on the horizontal axis is longer than the distance between my friend and me. On the vertical axis, my grandparents' actions have been placed higher than mine, marked with honorific verbs. I would say that speech styles and levels are important because they affect the psychology, feelings, and emotions of the people you are engaged in communication with. To build desirable relationships with Koreans, adopting appropriate speech styles and levels is inevitable. Having said that though, don't stress over too much and don't be too self-conscious when speaking Korean because stress and self-filtering may hinder you from improving your Korean. And also, for sure, native speakers understand that using appropriate polite language for non-Korean speakers is difficult. Sometimes it's tricky for Koreans too. Yes, they may not be able to help their immediate feelings about the language they hear on the spot. That's with their right brain. But they will be able to rationalize and be forgiving with their left brain, as they will know inappropriate linguistic choices made by Korean learners at times will be interpreted as an error and no harms intended. So relax and speak Korean whenever you get a chance. Trusting that you are relieved from apprehension about not using proper speech styles and levels, I'll end today's lesson here. Before I let you go, let me tell you that I know Korean is a difficult language to learn. But you're not giving in to that. You're doing great.